Karl-Anthony Towns is ready to prove the haters wrong. He wants to win. He loves his teammates. On defense, he says he wants to be a 7-foot-tall Patrick Beverley. And look, we can barely handle like a 5'6" Pat Bev, so we're good. But this is promising. Actually, here's the thing. We hear this every single season. Okay, I don't care what Cat says anymore or how they look in the preseason. The Timberwolves will suck until they show us otherwise. In fact, this is the biggest year in Cat's career. If he messes this up, he's officially a bust. And I don't mean like Anthony Bennett level bust. I mean like Andrew Wiggins bust. Everyone thought he was a generational player, but actually, he's just another dude. We don't like to admit that we were wrong, but at some point, you just have to admit it. Like just yesterday in the car, I was driving like a maniac, and my wife got upset. She said it made her car sick. I said, then you shouldn't be reading in the car. And of course, I was wrong. I think, upset about the guy driving in front of me. And then she says that to me. And then I snap back at her. And then when everything calmed down and the emotion was out of it, I told her like, look, I'm sorry. You're right. I was driving like an idiot. I will drive better. And for Cat, it's the same thing. How many years of proof do we need before we admit it? He's not as good as we thought. This awful stat makes you go,
Things that make you go,
The Timberwolves have been awful on defense every single year Towns has been with them. They have ranked 28th, 27th, 25th, 24th, 20th, and 28th in defensive efficiency. Remember, there's only 30 teams in the league, so that's about as bad as it can get. Dude is one of the most gifted offensive big men in the world, but this is about winning. Two-way players win, like games and awards, like MVP. Giannis, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, even Nikola Jokic has been on teams with a top 10 defense. And I know what people will say, it's not Cat's fault. And I actually tend to agree with them. Like, the Timberwolves have been the most dysfunctional franchise in the league since before he got there. They have made the playoffs one time in 17 seasons. That is awful. But Towns is a big part of it, especially on defense. Now, the other thing they'll say is, what about all the stuff off the court? And I actually agree with that too. Last year, he lost his mom to the pandemic. It hit him extremely hard emotionally and understandably affected his play on the court. On top of that, there have been serious injuries. He has only played 85 total games the last 2 seasons. So, because of all of that, I am not ready to call Towns that kind of Andrew Wiggins bust yet. But if he doesn't turn around this season, we'll be forced to admit we were all wrong. Now, Cat said, quote, I've been everything from defamed by teammates to the scapegoat to my own personal life. It hasn't been easy since I came here, but one thing that is constant is I've been a constant professional in all of that. Well, all that ends this year, Cat, because there is no more excuse for losing. This season, he has a head coach that everyone respects in Chris Finch, a healthy D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards, who is a future star, plus new ownership with Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez, who you know will spend money if they have to. Also, I like Jaden McDaniels, who looks like a late first-round gem. The point is that if they don't at least make the playoffs, then Jimmy Butler was right. Cat's ex-teammate trash-talked him on the court, and he called him a loser and soft as baby, which is harsh, but is he wrong? I mean, if Cat can't at least lead this team to the playoffs, we have to admit we were wrong. Everyone thought he was gonna be like Anthony Davis 2.0, not only from Kentucky, but like a 7-footer with guard skills. NBA GMs said 2 years in a row that if they would start a team with anybody, they would start it with Cat. Now imagine what that GM survey says. Cat literally did not get a vote last time. Of course, it's like Luka and Giannis. Karl-Anthony Towns is officially an afterthought. Like, the NBA GMs admitted we were wrong. Now I think it's time for all of us to admit it. At least if he doesn't show up again this year. Other players we were wrong about: Blake Griffin, Dwight Howard, Tyreek Evans, Steve Francis, Tracy McGrady, Kevin Love, kind of. There's a lot of other dudes who could have been on this list, but at least like Chris Webber was the best player on a contending team, even if he had a super short peak. Cat is about to start his peak, and his teams have never even been close. What I predict for this season, the Timberwolves will start out strong. Cat will start out strong, balling like he usually does. Who can forget the 36 points and 14 boards he dropped to ruin Kyrie's Nets debut 2 years ago? Then they will do what they always do. To recap my West predictions, I have the Lakers first, then the Mavericks, Suns, Nuggets, Warriors, Clippers, Jazz, Blazers, Timberwolves, Pelicans, Grizzlies, Spurs, Kings, Thunder, Rockets. Now, if you want to hear why I'm so high on the Mavs or so low on the Jazz, just click the video at the end of this video. But this is about the Timberwolves, and I have them making the play-in, which is not the playoffs, by the way. And if they do miss the playoffs, Cat should demand a trade, and I think he will. Now, of course, Cat is going to say all the right things, which he has been doing. He'll say he wants to win in Minnesota. Of course, he'll say he's open to signing an extension. But if he didn't say that stuff, he would basically torch his own locker room. So why would he? The reason I think he is secretly considering a trade if things go wrong is the comments that Cat just made to the media after they fired their front office guy.
What happened last week, it just added to the list. You know, it's just the same thing every single time. You know, it's something that's always leads to instability. And I joked about it the day before that I was like, man, it's been a real quiet offseason for Minnesota. It's very different. Boom. Made sure they had one left in the hat.
Players don't talk like that if they're happy with their situation. That was the truth slipping out. I don't think Cat wants to leave New Orleans. He just doesn't have a choice. It's like Anthony Davis in New Orleans. That team is one of the worst run franchises. They could not build around him. They've got a second chance now with Zion Williamson. They're messing it up again. I think Minnesota is just like one of those teams that can't keep a superstar. Like, think about all the Kevin Garnett days. Like, that dude was super loyal, even though in the end he had his beef and hated the owner, right? Kevin Garnett, super loyal kind of guy, but like eventually he had to demand a trade. And I think we all agree Kevin Garnett got out of there too late. Like, when he won a championship with the Celtics, he was past his prime. He should have gotten out of there a long time ago. Like, these franchises don't deserve guys with this much talent. And Karl-Anthony Towns is that same kind of loyal guy, but like, he's about to be 26 years old. If it doesn't work this year, he needs to get out. This is the most important season in Cat's career, and he knows it. Now, these are those West standings that I talked about. Jazz fans can be mad at me all you want. I see some people picking the Jazz to win the championship. I am officially fading Utah. And also, my thoughts about the Suns not paying DeAndre Ayton. This was made just before that decision was final, but it all still applies.